Hey, welcome back to Engineers Workshop. Don't have any machining for you today, but I want to go back to one of the things I said some time ago in developing this shop. I want to have really good measurement capability for the things that I make. And so I'm pretty sure I showed you a preview of the awesome 48-inch square granite table with the self-elevating and lowering cross arm with the Gilman slides. I've got a nice 2-foot by 3-foot by 4-inch granite table, which I'm going to put onto a rolling stand. And I've just made some new acquisitions in the form of micrometers, 1 to 12 inches, so I can measure anything up to 12 inches. And that's what I wanted to show you. Plus, I've got something that is going to be up for sale. So let's go over and we'll check it out. So here's my stable of micrometers. Got these all off of eBay with the exception of my 0 to 1 inch, and this is actually a T230 XRL. Had this from a previous job. Very nice little micrometer. Has the tense vernier on the barrel and the ratchet on the end of the mic. And from 1 to 2 on up, I decided that I wanted to be able to measure up to 12 inches. So I started just shopping the auctions and bidding on these things. I wasn't looking for pristine. I was looking at the condition of the anvil faces and for descriptions of smooth mechanisms, which I basically got on all of them with the exception of the 1-2. And the 1-2 did have something that tweaked the barrel just a little bit. And that barrel runs tight in one spot and loose in another. So I'm going to have to take this apart and see if I can get it. It's just a little stiff, and it's stiff even with the thing all the way out. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of work on this one. If not, I'll just rebuy it. But they're all in basically very good shape. They have different styles of friction wheels. Some have the stem on the end. A couple have the slip barrel here, and a couple don't have any clutch mechanism at all. In the bigger sizes, the biggest 3 have the larger diameter barrels. This one, the 6 to 7, still has a protective goo on the end of it. I don't know if it was ever used. 3 of them came with boxes. They were all pretty beat up, but the next question comes as to how am I going to calibrate all these? I only have 3 standards, length standards. I have 2 12-inch standards from my father-in-law, and I got I think it's an 8-inch standard. So this can do the 7 to 8 and the 8 to 9, but I also bought a set of gauge blocks. I want to show you those. This is a set of Mitutoyo gauge blocks up to 4 inches. And I can, ring some of these together so I can get 6 or even 7.5 inches with these. But this will get me to a point where I can calibrate most of the smaller sizes. And there's something that is interesting about precision measurement that I want to, remind people of. If you've ever read, there's a book out there called Fundamentals of Mechanical Accuracy. I mean, it is amazing. But take the 4-inch gauge block, for instance. Now, this gauge block is longer than this gauge block. Yes, the actual weight of the gauge block does affect the length if it's standing up. It only starts to be significant in lengths above 16 inches. And by significant, I mean a few millionths of an inch. Is this anything that you or I can measure? No. But things to keep in mind that this gauge block, now that it's in contact with the granite table, which is a very good idea, you should keep your measuring equipment in contact with a granite table to act as a heat sink, and it tends to stabilize the temperature of all the parts. But this gauge block is now longer from me touching it, and it's now cooler. Furthermore, this gauge block is bent like a banana, and the end faces are no longer parallel, even when you do this. So these things are very sensitive to changes. You have to keep those things in mind when you're measuring. Now, certainly if I were to, put a lighter under this, I could measurably affect the length. Even, 10 degrees or so, you could probably measure the difference in the length of one of these gauge blocks on the mics, or if the mics are at a different temperature than the gauge block when you calibrate them. So keep that in mind. I ordered my 11 to 12 inch mic from Yoder Brothers Machinery. They had an online auction, and I got the package, and when I opened it up, I found this. This is an 18 to 19 inch. It's a 436, but obviously not what I bought. So I wrote back to them. I said, hey, you guys shipped me the wrong part. Sent them a couple pictures of it. And I said, I need some further instructions on what you want me to do. And so they responded back and were very apologetic, and they said, we will try to locate your item and get back with you. A couple days later, they did. They said, we have found your item that you bought and have packaged it up for shipment. Please keep the original, no charge, our compliments. So I got this 18 to 19 inch mic, which I will never use, and it's way bigger than the set that I have, up to 12 inch. I don't have any intention of accumulating 13 through 18 inch mics, so I'm offering this up to anybody who might have a use for it. Just make me a reasonable offer. Don't tell me, hey, I'll give you 10 bucks for it. It's too cool to keep for 10 bucks, but take a look at the 3 that are on eBay. I don't expect to get that much for it. I think they're in the $400, $300 to $500 range for the 3 that are on there. But make me a reasonable offer. If you got a big channel, hey, give me a shout out, and that could be worth something towards the purchase price. But this guy's for sale to a person who needs it, who will give it a good home. I wanted to show you one more little gem. This is a mic that I got at a antique store. And it just says Micrometer old high quality. So I wanted to, it was in the case, so I said, pull that thing out, let me take a look at it. And this is I guess it's a tool room mic. It's a little brown and sharp. I can't find a model number on it, but it's permanently mounted in this box. And this mic has a direct reading barrel. Look how big that barrel is. Intense. And it's 0 to ½ inch. So if you take the 1008 gauge bar, and you come down on that, you're 1008. Got to get the right tension on it. But it's just a really cool little mic. See if I can get that barrel to come into focus. There's your vernier, 10 thousandths, 9 thousandths, and all the tenths in between. Very cool little mic, smooth as butter. I've seen these barrels on sale in eBay to move stages, X and Y stages. I think they use them for optical measurements and for very, very precise measurements, but they've got these direct reading barrels, and they're not really that expensive. I don't know if you can just take them and put them into a micrometer, but you can certainly mount them to move stages. So the question now is, how do I calibrate the bigger mics where I don't have a standard? I wanted to show you this. This is a Cadillac plate check gauge. And this is a kind of an older version of the ones you may be more familiar with, like I think they're by Mitutoyo, where they have the gauge blocks offset all the way up the column, and you can measure both on an underside and a top side at the same height. This one has a little bit different principle. It has a solid one-piece barrel that has very accurately machined 1/4 inch wide discs on 1 inch centers. So the distance from that center, or excuse me, that face to that face is 1 inch. The distance from that face to that face is 1 inch. But you have to dial at the top to get those two faces at a given height. So this will go 0 to 12 inches, and I got this off eBay for a ridiculously low price, I think like $60 or $75. You can lock the barrel with the side piece here. It was a little stiff when I got it, but a couple shots of WD-40 freed it up. And then in a completely separate auction, I got this 6-inch riser block. And I knew by the shape of it that it was for the same gauge. But so if you take the plate check gauge and you put it on top of the riser block, it has very generous clearance holes in the dowel. You now have a 6 to 18-inch height standard that you can use. So very, very cool piece of equipment. I keep this in the heated shop. And this belonged to IBM. Let me zoom in on this. So this is a Cadillac gauge company, plate check, model 10074, serial number inventoried 1974, and belonged to IBM. So this gauge gives us an opportunity to calibrate all of the mics up to 12 inches. Like I said, these discs are exactly 1/4 inch, except the lower one. The lower one is a little thinner. And using the 0 to 1 inch mics, we find that this is 175, 85, 194. It's 194 and a tenth or two. So we can use that 194 and a tenth or two, and we can grab any of these outside dimensions, and we can just add that to the nominal, and then we can calibrate our larger mics on that. Now I've gone through some of these, and I haven't found one yet that was more than about 1/1000 off, which is pretty amazing, but I'm just going to grab one at random and check it now. So remember that dimension 194, if I can get it to focus. 194 and 2/10. So it's 3 inches, 194. Three inches, 194, and about 3 to 4/10. So a little bit off, but I just pulled these things out of the car and put them on the granite table, and really everything needs to stabilize at the same temperature before we say that that's an accurate measurement or not. But that's how I plan to calibrate the rest of my 0 to 12 inch mics. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Keep in mind that if you have a need for an 18 to 19 inch Starrett 436 micrometer, I am taking offers, reasonable offers on that. There are 3 for sale on eBay going for a lot of bucks. Well, they're asking a lot of bucks, and certainly I don't want that much, but make me a reasonable offer if you can use it, and I will send it your way. Otherwise, it's going to sit on my shelf. I doubt that I will ever measure anything, and I don't really have a good way to check that 18 to 19 inch. I don't have a standard for it, so it looks like it's in good shape. But once again, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for tuning in to Engineers Workshop, and until next time, as always, stay safe.